Have you ever felt too lazy to do something? Allow me to share a story. In a small village nestled at the foot of a formidable mountain, there lived a notorious young man. His fame wasn't for his strength, intelligence, or courage, but rather for his talent in the art of doing absolutely nothing. He was renowned for his laziness. While the villagers toiled in the fields and workshops, this young man would leisurely spend his days beneath the shade of a large ancient tree, napping and daydreaming the hours away. His life was a never-ending Sunday under the sun, devoid of any effort or ambition. The village knew him, the young man who lived by the rhythm of his yawns and the melody of his snores. However, his serene, slothful existence was about to be disrupted. One day, a wise old monk arrived, hearing tales of the young man's notorious laziness. The monk, intrigued by the young man's reputation, decided to test his potential. He called the young man over, his eyes twinkling with a challenge. "My son," he began, "I have a task for you. Climb to the top of that mountain and bring back a single feather from the highest peak." The young man scoffed at the idea, dismissing it as impossible, yet the monk with a serene smile added a twist. "The feather I seek is not on the mountain itself, it is on the other side, in a cave that can only be reached by climbing to the top and descending the other side." This piqued the young man's curiosity, a spark ignited within him. The promise of a unique feather, a tangible proof of his effort, was too enticing to resist. He nodded, accepting the monk's proposition. And so the young man embarked on the grueling journey, driven by the promise of the unique feather. The journey was not easy, the climb was exhausting and the descent treacherous. Our young man, once known for his laziness, was now pushing his body to the extreme. Every step was a brutal reminder of his previous indolence, every drop of sweat, a symbol of his transformation. His muscles screamed in protest, but he soldiered on. His determination was like a fire, gradually consuming the remnants of his former self. As he ascended, the air grew thin, making each breath a hard-won battle. But with the struggle came a sense of exhilaration, a feeling of vitality he had never known. Reaching the summit, he was met with a sight that took his breath away. The world spread out before him, a vast tapestry of colors and shapes. The view filled him with an indescribable sense of accomplishment. For a moment he was on top of the world, but the journey was far from over. The descent was even more treacherous than the climb. The loose stones beneath his feet were like treacherous ice, and he stumbled and fell multiple times. But each fall hardened his resolve. He picked himself up, dusted himself off, and continued his journey. And then he found it, the feather. It lay there, shimmering in the dim light of the cave, a symbol of his journey. He held it in his hand, marveling at its beauty. But his heart sank as he realized that he was only halfway through his journey. He had to climb back up the mountain to return the feather to the monk. His body ached, his lungs burned. But he refused to give in. He remembered the exhilaration he had felt at the summit. He remembered the sense of accomplishment. And he knew he could do it again. He had the strength, he had the determination. And so, he began his climb, one painful step at a time. Despite the pain, he knew he had the strength to climb again, to return the feather to the monk. Returning to the monk with the feather, the young man had changed. There was a spark in his eyes, a strength in his stance, a confidence in his voice. The old sage, with a serene smile, spoke, "Well done, my son, you've learned an important lesson today. Laziness is not a comfort zone to be embraced, it is a challenge to be overcome, a hurdle to be leaped over." The young man nodded. A newfound understanding filled his heart. He realized he had always been capable of achieving great things, but his laziness had held him back. No more. He had tasted the sweet fruit of accomplishment, and he was not going back. The monk's words echoed in his mind. To conquer laziness, push beyond your comfort zone, set ambitious goals, cultivate discipline, maintain consistency, and embrace a growth mindset. And so, the young man, once notorious for his laziness, became an inspiration to his village, proving that with determination and a willingness to challenge oneself, anything is possible.